Dear students, today we are going to discuss trade and globalization. Though we have discussed trade and globalization in week 3, but this is second part of trade and globalization. So first of all, let me define what is trade and globalization. Okay. So according to Levin Institute, the trade is an activity that has existed long before currencies were adopted. So it began from the goods and services exchange that has occurred thousands of years ago. This system of trading was called barter, okay, where items of assumed similar values are traded. Thus, the presence of money has just made the trading of goods and services more convenient and efficient. With the emergence of modernized transportation as well as communication systems, the trading experience has improved both in quantity and reaching out to more locations, expanding the availability of certain goods and services. The growing process of trading has made it to become increasingly complicated as larger and more diverse consumers are involved. From the initial face-to-face transactions between sellers and buyers, which are still practiced in some domestic or international trades, has gradually moved towards transaction without any human interaction in between. In commercial trades, individuals and firms are crucial to the market as they depend and support one another. Other market agents, like middlemen, who are known as wholesalers, suppliers of transportation services, suppliers of market information, are also important to the supply chain as they assist with complicated, far and time-consuming transactions. Their role makes the transaction process more efficient instead of insisting a face-to-face trade. This translates to the international trades that are happening today, as large volume of diverse consumers that are far away from the manufacturer are able to receive their goods and serve through a complex supply chain or trading process made efficient. The meaning of trade can be defined as the buying and selling of goods and services between different countries around the world. Goods that are brought into country are called imports, and those that are sold to another country are called exports. So trade occurs because no country has enough raw materials or manufactured goods to be self-sufficient. Global trade has been made possible through the process of globalization. Since countries throughout the world now communicate and share their culture and goods through travel and trade, improved communication enables products to be transported around the world rapidly. A huge global economy means that if something happens in area, it can have a knock-on effect worldwide. Okay, so this process is called globalization. Globalization is the process by which the world is becoming increasingly interconnected as a result of a huge growth in trade and cultural exchange. Globalization has increased the production of goods and services. Then let's talk about Malaysian external trade statistics, because today's lecture will focus more on Malaysia. Okay, so let's talk about external trade in Malaysia. So you can see the figure here. According to figure, okay, A total of RM 153.7 billion was recorded Malaysia's total trade, but it declined 0.3% to RM 518.6 million in March 2019. Comparatively to the previous month, total trade in March 2019 was 25.9% or RM 31.6 billion more than the total trade value in February 2019. For the trade balance, there was a trade surplus of RM 14.4 billion with a decrease of 2.2% or in RM 318.5 million from the previous year. However, the amount was an increase from the previous month with RM 3.3 billion or 30% added. Figure 1 also shows a decrease of 0.5% in the country's export within the month of March, which is now a total of RM 84 billion. In this case of imports, there was a 0.1% decrease, which makes the country's import a total of RM 69.7 billion. Then Malaysia export. As stated above, the country's export declined a total of 0.5%, which is to RM 84.4 billion. So this figure shows the three leading export products that contribute to the drop. Firstly, the electrical and electronic products exported consist of 37.2% in the share of the total exports. This amount has decreased 1.9%, which is a total of RM 606 million to the current total of RM 31.2 billion. Moving on the next product, with a decrease of 10.2% or RM 618.1 million, the export of palm oil and palm oil based products amount to a total of RM 5.4 billion, with a total share of 6.5% from the total export. Lastly, the export of refined petroleum products increased 16.2% or RM 692.8 million, reaching a total of RM 5 billion. This value also indicates a share of 5.9% in the total export. Then Malaysia, imports similar to exports. Imports also experience a drop, but with a smaller percentage of 0.1% or RM 100 million, which this figure, this figure decrease in percentage can be said to be due to capital goods. Capital goods had the worst decline with 11.8%. That means RM 1.1 billion, which in total was RM 8.3 billion, amounting to 11.9% of share in the whole import. The next type of import product is intermediate goods, where it has the most shares among the other imports with a total of 54.6%, increasing 3.2% or RM 1.2 billion to RM 38 billion. Finally, the share of consumption goods in the country's import is a total of 8.5%. So consumption goods experienced a rise of 10.5% or RM 562.3 million, which amount to RM 5.9 billion in total. So let's talk about the major trading partners in Malaysia. Figure 3, this figure shows the major trading partners of Malaysia with China having the largest share of 16.5%, followed by Singapore and European Union with 11.9% and 10.1% of share respectively. Within the ASEAN region, excluding Singapore, okay, the total share is 26.7%. The export between Malaysia with China and the ASEAN region showed an increase of 11.8%. That means RM 11.7 billion and 1.3% RM 23.6 billion each. As for the European Union and Singapore, Malaysia's export decreased 5%. That means 8.6 billion, and 6.9%. That means RM 10.5 billion respectively. Furthermore, Malaysia has increased its imports between China and European Union with 15.1%. That means RM 13.8 billion, and 0.02%. That means RM 6.9 billion respectively. While a decrease in Malaysia's import was detected in Singapore and the ASEAN region with 6.7%. That means RM 7.8 billion and 7.9%. That means RM 17.5 billion each. So this is the first part of today's lecture. We end here. Thank you.